everyone, it's Brandy Yvette with Just Swallow the Pill. Oh my goodness, I miss you guys. I miss you guys so much. I needed the break though. I needed the week off. I went out of town and I thought I was gonna be able to come back and hit the ground running, and things just did not work out that way. My body said, sit down. And so I sat down somewhere. But I appreciate you guys with being for being patient with me while I took the week off. But now I'm back and I'm ready. And I appreciate you guys for joining me today. So if you missed the episode 2 weeks ago, I told you guys about my remarkable God moment and what that meant for me and my divorce. I had been waiting for instruction and had not gotten it. And finally, after I decided to just really get quiet, I got the message. I was supposed to move on, period, point blank, end of story. And so it was such a relief for me because I was fighting by myself. I was literally fighting for my marriage all by myself. This man did not want to be with me anymore, and he made it perfectly clear that I was not what he wanted. And so finally, him and I came to an agreement that we would go to the courthouse and sign the divorce papers together. Now, just because I went along with this doesn't mean that it still didn't hurt. I still hadn't told a lot of people what was going on. I was still wearing my wedding ring. And the only person at my job that knew what was happening was my boss. My coworkers didn't even know what was going on. I literally hid this from everyone. And so me agreeing to sign the divorce papers was such a big deal for me. And so one day, April 13th, 2016, I will never forget the day, my ex-husband and I drove separate cars to the courthouse, and I pretty much told him he was responsible for doing everything. Since this is something that he wanted, he was gonna have to fill out the paperwork and he was gonna have to pay for it. And so that's pretty much what happened. We spent about 3 hours at the courthouse, maybe give or take a few, but we spent quite some time at the courthouse. And you know, it bothered me, you know, that I was having to go through what I was going through. And again, I was still shocked that I was going through what I was going through. I never in a million years thought that I would be getting a divorce. Despite the circumstances that him and I got married under, I still thought that he was just gonna be in it for the long haul, and he was not. And so went to the courthouse with him, signed where I was supposed to sign, and he stayed at the courthouse. I opted to leave after I signed the things that I needed to sign. And so I walked back to my car, and it seemed like I could not get there fast enough because the tears was coming and they were just coming down. And so I get to my truck and I just let out the largest cry I think I have ever cried in my life. And I remember like screaming because it hurt so bad that this was, it was done. Like this was happening. It was happening. It was happening. And there was nothing I could do. And there was nothing that I even felt like I should have done. And I remember slumped over on the driver's side, crying, hurling, and I heard a knock at my window. And I'm thinking, my first thought was, oh my God, some stranger done heard me or is hearing me cry my little eyes out and is just checking on me. And I look up, and it's my ex-husband. And so he says to me, roll your window down. So I rolled the window down, and he gave me a piss poor apology, saying how sorry he was for the way things turned out, and that how he never meant things to turn out this way. And he said, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm not going to file the paperwork until you move out and you find a job. Because at this point, I had decided to move to Phoenix. And he said, I won't take any action with these court documents until you have a job and you have a plan. And I thought that was very generous of him to do. And so even though I left that day hurt, I felt like, okay, well, maybe he's like being sort of remorseful. Maybe, you know, he's feeling sort of bad about things, or the way he's doing me, you know. And so left and went to work. Crazy day at work that day, just emotionally for myself. And, you know, I just couldn't believe again that this was happening. And so a couple of days went by, and my spirit started not to feel right again. And I think I had been telling you guys throughout this process, when something didn't feel right, I felt it in my chest. It was a very tight feeling that I would feel in my chest. And so one day I got home from work, and something just did not feel right. It didn't feel right at all. And I could not put my finger on it, y'all. I did not know. I wandered aimlessly around my apartment trying to figure out what the hell is wrong. I had no clue. So I went into my ex-husband's bedroom. Again, we had a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had put him in our guest bedroom at this point. And so I went into his room, and I just stood there. And I was guided to, like, I was guided to this shelf that was on the left-hand side. And so I look in this folder, and there are our court documents. And so I'm flipping through the court documents, and I see that this Negro done filed, like, stamps and everything. So I go online, and I put in our docket number, and we have a whole court date with a whole judge. Yes. I am pissed. I'm pissed at this point, because it had only been a couple of days, and you lied in my face. And told me you was not going to file these paperwork until I found a job. And it just made me so mad. And I thought back, because throughout the couple of days, he had been asking me, had I found a job yet? Like, he was asking me like every other day. And I was like, dude, like, I'll tell you when I have found a job. So you were pretty much kept asking me if I found a job because you knew you had already filed this paperwork. So that night, when he gets home, I confronted him about it. And I'm like, yo, you said you wasn't going to file this paperwork at all. And he was like, oh, I didn't say that. And I was like, dude, we not even together no more, and you still lying. Like, you're still lying. Like, at this point, I think you have a problem. And I was like, look, do me a favor. look and see how many knives that I got in my back, because you have betrayed me on so many levels at this point. I did not know this level of betrayal was even existed. I had no clue. I had no clue you could stab someone in the back this many times and still be cool. Like walking around cool, looking at yourself in the mirror like everything is cool. Like you sleeping real good at night. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I am done playing nice. I'm done. And so I devised my exit strategy. But before I took action, I prayed for a peaceful departure. I prayed that I was able to leave peacefully. And finally, I got the phone call for an interview in Phoenix. So I went to my interview in Phoenix, and I remember crying all the way there. And I also felt like since I was up in Phoenix, I needed to look for an apartment. And so since I had lived there before, I went to my old apartment complex. And they said, just pay us $100 and we'll hold the apartment for you. It's yours. On my way back down to Tucson, I'm in tears again. I'm just in tears. And I get a call that I got the job. So you mean to tell me that just weeks shy, maybe 2 weeks, God gives me instructions to start over. I sign these papers a week later. And then a week after that, I get a job and an apartment in the same day. And at that point, I knew that I was doing the right thing. I knew that the ball was rolling. And then when I get back down to Tucson later that day, I get another job offer. So at this point, I've gotten 2 job offers and an apartment in the same day. And I felt, again, relieved, but I was also angry that I was having to do all of this. I was so angry and still shocked, hurt, but excited too. So I was pretty much a ball of emotions, depending on the minute, that depended on the emotion that I felt. Now, as I said before, I was really tired of being nice. So now I have 2 jobs and an apartment in Phoenix. And I could have told him what was going on with me, but I didn't. And so we are going to pause right there. And I am going to come back next week with how I left. And it was hilarious. I left in such a way that stunned this man. He was stunned. But all right, we're gonna stop there. I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Like, comment, and share. I need you guys to share this. If you know someone that is going through something similar, or you know someone that will benefit from this, share this with them. I would love to also hear your stories. So email me at thedifficultpill@gmail.com if you want to let me know what's going on with you. And as always, your crown isn't on your head, it's in your soul. Thank you again for watching, and we will see y'all next week.